The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is generally applicable to all electrical installations, which includes portable land drilling rigs. However, there are specific sections and exceptions that may exempt certain aspects of these rigs from the NEC requirements. There are several factors to consider. Firstly, mobility. Portable drilling rigs are typically designed to be moved and assembled on site. This mobility raises questions about the permanency of the electrical installation. Secondly, installation environment. Drilling rigs operate in remote and often hazardous environments which may require modifications to the NEC requirements to ensure safety. Thirdly, equipment-specific standards. There may be industry-specific standards or regulations that apply to land drilling rigs, such as the API, or American Petroleum Institute, recommended practices. Concerning NEC applicability, permanent components such as wiring, enclosures, and transformers must comply with the NEC. Temporary components, such as extension cords and temporary lighting, may be exempt from certain NEC requirements provided they meet safety standards. Control panels mounted on portable rigs are generally exempt from the NEC requirements for fixed installations, as long as they meet the requirements for portable equipment. Drilling rigs often operate in hazardous locations, such as areas with flammable gases or liquids. These areas must be classified and protected according to the NEC hazardous location requirements. API recommended practices provide additional guidance for electrical installations on land drilling rigs, including requirements for equipment grounding, wiring methods, and safety interlocks. When considering inspection, firstly, the scope of inspection should be determined. Determine the extent of the electrical installation to be inspected, including both permanent and temporary components. Secondly, hazardous locations should be carefully inspected for proper classification, equipment protection, and ventilation. Thirdly, verify that all electrical equipment is properly labeled and meets safety requirements. Fourthly, ensure that the electrical system is properly grounded and bonded to protect against electrical hazards. Furthermore, review any available documentation such as manufacturer's instructions, API standards, or previous inspection reports to determine specific requirements and exemptions. By carefully considering these factors, inspectors can determine the applicability of the NEC to portable land drilling rigs and ensure that the electrical installation is safe and compliant. It is always advisable to consult with local authorities having jurisdiction, or ODGs, or qualified electricians for specific guidance. Some additional aspects to consider regarding the NEC in portable land drilling rigs include Article 513, which covers aircraft hangars, Article 514, which covers motor fuel dispensing facilities, Article 515, which covers bulk storage plants, Article 516, which covers spraying, dipping, and coating processes, Article 517, which covers healthcare facilities, Article 518, which covers assembly occupancies, Article 520, which covers theatres, audience areas, and similar locations, Article 522, which covers controlled environment agriculture, Article 525, which covers carnival, fairs, and similar events, Article 530, which covers motion picture and television studios and similar locations, Article 540, which covers motion picture and television studios and similar locations, Article 545, which covers manufactured buildings, Article 547, which covers agricultural buildings, Article 550, which covers mobile homes, manufactured homes, and mobile home parks, Article 551, which covers recreational vehicles and recreational vehicle parks, Article 552, which covers park trailers, Article 553, which covers floating buildings, Article 555, which covers marinas, docking facilities, and boat yards, Article 590, which covers temporary installations, Article 600, which covers electric signs and outline lighting, Article 604, which covers manufactured wiring systems, Article 605, which covers office furnishings, Article 610, which covers cranes and hoists, Article 620, which covers elevators, dumbwaiters, escalators, moving walks, platform lifts, and stairway chair lifts. Article 625, which covers electric vehicle charging systems. Article 626, which covers dedicated equipment rooms and areas. Article 630, which covers welding, cutting, and allied processes. Article 640, which covers audio signal processing, amplification, and production equipment. Article 645, which covers information technology equipment. Article 646, which covers modular data centers. Article 647, which covers sensitive electronic equipment. Article 650, which covers pipe organs. Article 660, which covers X-ray equipment. Article 665, which covers induction and electric heating equipment. Article 668, which covers electrolytic cells. Article 669, which covers electroplating. Article 670, which covers industrial machinery. Article 675, which covers electrically driven or controlled irrigation machines. Article 680, which covers swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations. Article 682, which covers natural and artificially made bodies of water. Article 685, which covers integrated electrical systems. Article 690, which covers solar photovoltaic systems. Article 691, which covers large-scale photovoltaic electric power production facilities. Article 692, which covers fuel cell systems. Article 694, which covers wind electric systems. Article 695, which covers fire pumps. Article 700, which covers emergency systems. Article 701, which covers legally required standby systems. Article 702, which covers optional standby systems. Article 705, which covers interconnected electric power production sources. Article 706, which covers energy storage systems. Article 708, which covers critical operations power systems. Article 710, which covers over 600 volts nominal general. Article 712, which covers direct current microgrids. Article 720, which covers circuits and equipment operating at less than 50 volts. Article 725, which covers Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3 remote control signaling and power limited circuits. Article 727, which covers instrumentation tray cable type ITC. Article 760, which covers fire alarm systems. Article 800, which covers communication circuits. Article 805, which covers communication systems. Article 810, which covers radio and television equipment. Article 820, which covers community antenna television and radio distribution systems. Article 830, which covers network-powered broadband communications systems, and Article 840, which covers premises-powered broadband communications systems. These articles provide specific requirements and guidelines for various types of electrical installations and equipment, and they may be relevant to the electrical systems used in portable land drilling rigs. Furthermore, the NEC addresses wiring and protection. Firstly, conductors must be insulated and protected from physical damage. Secondly, overcurrent protection devices must be properly sized and installed. Thirdly, grounding and bonding are essential for safety. For equipment, all electrical equipment must be listed and labeled. Equipment must be suitable for the environment, and hazardous location equipment must be appropriately rated. For hazardous locations, proper classification is essential. Explosion-proof or intrinsically safe equipment must be used, and wiring methods must be suitable for the hazardous environment. The NEC also covers temporary wiring, which must be properly installed and maintained. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are required in certain locations, and temporary wiring must be removed promptly when no longer needed. Grounding and bonding are critical for electrical safety. Grounding ensures a path for fault current to return to the source. Bonding connects non-current carrying metal parts to create a low impedance path for fault current, and proper grounding and bonding reduces the risk of electric shock. Furthermore, electrical safety is of utmost importance. Workers must be trained in electrical safety procedures. Lockout-tagout procedures must be followed when working on electrical equipment, and personal protective equipment, or PPE, must be used when working on or near energized equipment. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential for electrical safety. Electrical equipment should be inspected regularly for signs of damage or wear. Maintenance should be performed as needed to keep equipment in good working condition, and any electrical hazards should be addressed promptly. Furthermore, it is important to consult with qualified professionals. Electrical work should be performed by qualified electricians. Electrical engineers can provide guidance on complex electrical systems, and certified inspectors can ensure compliance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. Here are some examples of how the NEC might apply to specific aspects of a portable land drilling rig. For permanent wiring, all permanent wiring must comply with the NEC requirements for wiring methods, conductor sizing, overcurrent protection, and grounding. For temporary wiring used for lighting or powering equipment must comply with the NEC requirements for temporary wiring, including the use of GFCIs and proper support and protection. For control panels mounted on the rig must comply with the NEC requirements for control panels, including proper wiring, overcurrent protection, and labeling. For hazardous locations, any areas on the rig that are classified as hazardous locations must comply with the NEC requirements for hazardous locations, including the use of explosion-proof equipment and proper ventilation. For equipment grounding, all electrical equipment on the rig must be properly grounded in accordance with the NEC requirements for equipment grounding. It is important to note that the NEC is a complex and comprehensive code, and it is not possible to provide a complete overview of its requirements in a brief summary. Anyone who is responsible for the electrical installation on a portable land drilling rig should consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable requirements. The NEC also includes tables such as Table 300.5, which provides minimum cover requirements for buried conductors and cables, Table 310.15b16, which provides allowable ampacities of insulated conductors rated up to and including 2000 volts, Table 430.52, which provides maximum rating or setting of motor branch circuit, short circuit, and ground fault protective devices, Table 450.3, which provides transformer overcurrent protection, Table 250.122, which provides minimum size equipment grounding conductors for grounding raceway and equipment, Table 314.16, which provides box fill calculations, and Table 430.250, which provides full load current in amperes direct current motors. The NEC also refers to other standards, such as those from the American Petroleum Institute, or API, the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. The API standards provide guidance for electrical installations in petroleum and natural gas industries. NFPA standards cover fire protection and life safety, and IEE standards address electrical engineering and electronics topics. When inspecting a portable land drilling rig, consider the following steps. Firstly, review the electrical drawings and specifications to understand the electrical system's design and components. Secondly, visually inspect the electrical equipment and wiring for any signs of damage, wear, or improper installation. Thirdly, verify that all electrical equipment is properly labeled and meets the required safety standards. Fourthly, test the grounding and bonding system to ensure that it is functioning properly. Fifthly, inspect any hazardous locations to ensure that they are properly classified and protected. Sixthly, verify that all overcurrent protection devices are properly sized and installed. Seventhly, check the wiring methods to ensure that they comply with the NEC requirements. Eighthly, verify that all temporary wiring is properly installed and maintained. Ninthly, review the documentation, such as manufacturer's instructions and API standards, to ensure that the electrical installation meets all applicable requirements. Tenthly, prepare a detailed inspection report that documents any findings and recommendations. Remember that electrical safety is a shared responsibility. By following these guidelines and consulting with qualified professionals, you can help ensure that the electrical installation on a portable land drilling rig is safe and compliant.